So I have a bit of a confession to make. I have not always been a fan of Geissele triggers. And then when I started to decide I was going to rebuild my old beat up Bushmaster from like 2007, I decided I was gonna just give the Geissele name one more shot. But I'm not a two-stage guy. They mess me up on the range. I seem to stutter with them on my pulls, and I just don't have a good time with two-stage triggers. And I've tried a bunch of different versions. And then I found out that Geissele made a single stage trigger, which is that fella right there. That is their single stage performance trigger. In the flat trigger shoe version, they do have a curved one as well. And it changed my mind a little bit. So being that I had to let the nostalgia go and this thing needs a complete rebuild, I figured I'd spring for the trigger when it comes to that old Bushmaster, breathe some life back into it, have some fun on the range.
I mean, come on, that's so fast.
That thing is just nasty. It's absolutely nasty. So we're gonna take a good look at this trigger up close. And some of you may know Geissele because Geissele is probably one of the most respected brands in the industry when it comes to triggers. And some of you may not, but most of you, like myself, may have only been familiar with their two-stage designs. So we're gonna take a look at this, do the trigger pulls on it, talk about the part that it comes with, and of course, check out more of that range footage and get to the pound of flesh, what this thing is going to cost us should you go with a Geissele. All right, so I have this thing broken down for you so we can get a really good look at this trigger, but let's talk about the parts and the part numbers. So the Geissele we're talking about today, SSP, single stage precision part 05483. Now these are the factory parts, but they match exactly what the Geissele gives you, just so you guys have an idea of everything that this kit comes with. You're gonna get your hammer, you're going to get your sear, your disconnector, pins, a slave pin, and all of your associated springs to replace everything that is in your mil-spec design. You're also going to get a packet of lubrication, which is from ALG, which I think Geissele actually owns or is a partner with. And then you're going to make sure that you lubricate all of the appropriate points according to the instructions in there. So taking a good look at this, you can see that nice flat but kind of back-bowed trigger. It's got that kind of triangular design. Just a sick look to that thing. It does have the Geissele G logo on both sides of it. But other than that, that's all you get. And it's a nice wide flat surface. Now the trigger in here is a MIM part. You can tell by the kind of circular part right there. But that's not gonna make a big deal when it comes to a trigger shoe. That's not gonna cause a problem at all. I have heard people talk about the difference between MIN and machine parts before. There's a time and a place for machine, and there's a time and a place for MIM. So not gonna have any problems there. Give a good look down in here. It's gonna look exactly like your kind of standard GI spec triggers, but you're gonna see a lot of really nice work done on all of the contact surfaces. That is what they're doing along with the appropriate springs to really maximize every single bit of performance out of this trigger. So taking a good look here on safe, you'll see that tiny bit of play in there, and that's just gonna happen when it comes to almost every trigger out there. Now, when you actually pull it, it just goes right through. You don't even feel that at all. So again, we'll go here, immediate break and our reset, very positive reset. So one of the things about some aftermarket triggers, depending on the springs, you can get a little bit of a weak reset on there, but this thing feels almost as positive as the super heavy mil-spec triggers. So you're gonna have that nice reset and that ultra clean break. So talking about the take up on this, it's a little weird because like I said, as you pull the trigger, you don't feel any movement or take up or slop, but when I move it super slow with 2 fingers, you can just barely see about 3 millimeters of take up before it breaks. Try and get you the best view here, but I know I have 2 fingers in there. You'll see it right here, and it breaks right there. So kind of crazy. You can't feel it when you're pulling it with your trigger finger, but you can feel it if you really slowly kind of work it with 2 fingers. And that just has to do with how well of a job they've done on the contact surfaces. So we'll go ahead and do 3 trigger pulls, and we're gonna pull from hopefully right here at the same place every time. And we'll see that first pull, a little under 3 pounds. So 2 pounds and about 14 ounces. That's pretty light. So we'll do 3 and then we'll test some different locations on the trigger shoe. All right, so that one is right at 3 pounds. And any inconsistency on this is gonna be me placing the gauge on a different part of the shoe, I am sure. So that one was right back down at about 2 pounds and 14. And then if I pull super low right there, that's about 2 pounds and 8 ounces. And then if I pull super high, if you don't get your finger low as you can, you'll see that weight kind of jump up to just under 4, about 3 pounds and 14 ounces. So moral of the story, get your finger as low as possible on the trigger shoe. I know some people like to bring that up. You're pulling too low. Work the leverage, guys. Work that trigger for what it is. So let's talk about the price, that range footage, and how much I really like the single stage Geissele stuff now. Oh, and of course, get subscribed. Give the video a like. Let's just go ahead and do this before we go on. You good? Okay, let's go.
You guys ever do the Union coffee break on the range? I mean, it's delicious, right?
Have to say, absolutely eating my words on this one because I have not always been a fan of Geissele, like I said up front, because I had only tried the 2-stage stuff. So if 2-stage triggers mess you up or if they're your thing, I really want to know in the comments because I just can't seem to get them right. I stutter on the trigger when I'm shooting rapid every time I use a 2-stage setup as compared to a single stage. And I don't know if that's just me or if that's like kind of common, but I really want to try this not only in this rifle when it's rebuilt, but like maybe more of a precision setup. So maybe like an SPR or something, just to kind of see having a trigger like that in a single stage could dial me in a little bit more on some of that long range stuff. So let's talk about that cost. What's the pound of flesh on this thing going to be? So being that Geissele is probably one of the biggest names in the trigger market and probably one of the most respected names in the trigger market, I found this one online for anywhere between like $218 to like $240. So it's an expensive one. It's not going to be some of your more budget-friendly drop-in triggers, but I have to say, the thing absolutely surpassed my expectations, far past my expectations, having dealt with the 2-stage stuff. Now, I am not a 2-stage trigger guy, even when it comes to the Geissele. Still, I've got a ton of friends that run them. But that single stage thing from Geissele, it definitely gives me everything and more than I expected from it. So if you're into the single stage thing, I think it's a solid one. If you're into the 2-stage thing and you already love them, then you probably already love Geissele. And it was kind of funny because after that first burst right here, I literally just thought to myself, oh, now I get it. Well, that is what I've got for you all today. If you are interested in the Geissele stuff, the single stage or the 2-stage stuff, see if your friend will let you touch his trigger, not anything else. I don't know where your mind went on that one. Always get your hands on this stuff before you buy it because you may or you may not like it. Like I said, I'm not a 2-stage guy. I much prefer single stage triggers. So test it and try it before you buy it. And let me know what your favorite trigger is or your go-to. There are some more budget-friendly options out there that still do a really good job cleaning up that mil-spec trigger, and I'm curious to know which one it is down in the comments. Other than that, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Give me a like if you are into what's going on here or you dig the Geissele brand, and if you don't like it, then go ahead and hit the thumbs down button like 4 times and see what happens. So we're there, get out on the range and have some fun. And remember, if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. I will see you guys on the next one.